Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hold on, let me move my camera around a little bit. Welcome tonight to tonight's restoration lab call. Hope you all are well. I, of course, have to be wearing my Michigan gear. For those of you who don't know what the hell I'm talking about, the University of Michigan, which is where I grew up 20 miles north of there, won the national championship for college basketball last night. So that was pretty cool. First time since 1989. So go blue. That's not what you all are here for. So what you all are here for is to talk about why a reoccurring injury isn't an accident. It's actually a pattern, and how we need to go about looking at it to determine what it's telling us. The biggest thing I want us to think about is injuries are just data. They're information coming into us that our brain is sending us that's saying, hey, look, this area, whatever area isn't safe. It's not safe for us to move on. It's not safe for us to load. So the way that I'm going to tell you about that is I'm going to make it sore. I'm going to make it weak. I'm going to make it stiff. I'm going to make it unstable. I'm going to make it whatever it is. And now, we also have to talk really quickly. I want to preface this and say that also not all injuries are created equal. Repetitive use injuries and accidents or impact injuries are different things. But they all are going to come back around to the same type of methodology to get rid of the injury. So let me grab my script here so I'm not rambling. So now I'll tell you a little story. We'll have story time with Sean because I'm the only person on the call tonight. So in 2004, I think, if I remember correctly, I was skateboarding at a local skateboard park. I was doing nothing exciting. I was I was there at like 11 a.m. There was nobody in the park, and I was in the half pipe, the mini half. I think it was a 4-foot half pipe, and I was literally just riding in the ramp. When you ride in a ramp, you've got a pump. So you're using your legs, you're using your core some, and then when you kick turn, you're using your core to like lift the front of your board up, and then kick turn back in. Now, at this time, I'd been a massage therapist for uh, going on 4 years, and so typically the shape that I'm in when I'm skating is going to be a little bit like this, right? And when you go up the ramp, you kind of wind up like this a little bit. So I've got this flexed spine. I'm going to kick turn, come back down in. And as I'm coming down the wall, I'm pumping to get to the other side. And it's all a thing. I've been doing massage for about 4 years. Why was this significant? Because I was leaning over a lot, massaging people's bodies. So in both of these positions, I'm kind of in my hips are bent. Um, and as hard as I tried with good body mechanics while I was doing massage, I'm still gonna have a little bit of spinal flexion. My body's not gonna be perfect. When you're skateboarding, it's a very dynamic thing. So your body's never in a perfect place because you're responding to the ramp. So I was in the ramp for longer than I should have been, probably about 30 minutes. Somebody else came in. They were kind of waiting on the top of the deck. I got out of the ramp, and I went to sit down, and I got this really warm sensation in my right low back, and then all of a sudden my back spasmed, and I went from sitting like this to like this. I got in at that time I had a truck. I had a small truck to go drive the 20 minutes back home, and I'm like now my what I know to be now is my psoas or my deep hip flexor is locked up. And so that wasn't a accident. It was because my core wasn't strong enough to do that, for that long period of time. And also probably I had adopted some positioning from the massage that took me out of a strong position and made that whole area a little bit globally weak. So from 2004 to about 2019, I suffered very badly from low back pain. And I tried to foam roll, I got adjustments, I got hours upon hours of massage, I iced, I took ibuprofen, I did yoga, I did kettlebells, I did core training, I did functional strength training, I did animal mobility movements, I did tack fit, uh, I did a lot of things. And very few of those things would help long term. That I would get to a place where I would feel good, and then when I would go back to trying to use my body again, I wouldn't feel so good. So I've been in that frustration loop, and actually, that's really what this whole entire journey is me figuring out what the heck happened to me, and then being just super interested and passionate about this subject and topic. So, but yeah, I rested it, I did all the things, and it just kept coming back. But here's the thing that I didn't realize. I didn't change the pattern. I didn't strengthen my body enough to where there was a pattern interrupt. I was really just managing my symptoms until the next flare up came along. So what winds up happening for people is that, like I just talked to a lady last week, and she got in a car accident. So that's a accident. That's an impact injury. That's her body responding to some sort of external force, whether it's another human, the ground, another car running into you, those types of things. And she has been going to PT for like 2 months and seeing some improvement, not all the way improvement. And she's doing her exercises and all the things, but she's really not seeing the progress that she wants to see. And the reason for that is because she's not she's not providing her body with enough stimulus. So there's this term in fitness coaching, rehab, strength training called SED, or specific adaptation. Oh my God, I can't believe I can't remember SED. Uh, Specific adaptation. Anyways, you put stimulus into the system, and the system responds. And when we're not putting the right type of stimulus in, we don't get the type of response that we need to get. Like for me, I thought that when I was trying to come back from my low back pain, I thought that I needed to stretch my hip flexors, stretch my side muscles, and then strengthen my posterior chain. So I did billions of kettlebell swings until the cows came home. I swung a kettlebell more than most people have driven a car. I mean, I did a billion swings. I got up to the point where I could swing for 10 minutes straight with no break. I mean, I did a ton of swings. And then I stretched my hip flexors like a madman. And I tried to stretch more and get more mobile. And what would wind up happening is when I would go to engage my core dynamically, um, I have a backspin. Or sometimes not even dynamically. Sometimes it was literally like going to get out of the car, right? After I'd been sitting for a long time. But I didn't have that pattern interrupt. I didn't have a way to interrupt the pattern, because what I was doing was I was working really hard on my posterior chain, and it would feel better. It felt better for sure. But anytime I went to go get active, it would flare up. I can remember going to martial arts seminars, dreading martial arts seminars. I can remember going out to a martial arts seminar in like 2007, 2006, 2007, 2006 maybe. And literally doing this. we were uh, we were doing a drill, and I had to drop down and hit a guy's leg, and I literally did this. And then when I came back up, my back spasmed. So, and then another way, I was kicking, whack, right, whack, and my back spasmed. So anytime I went to um, dynamically put my body into motion, my body wasn't, my body didn't trust it, and it wasn't safe. And I probably have some bulges and herniations and all that stuff, but I was young. I was a small business owner. I didn't have any insurance, so I wasn't getting x-rays because I wasn't paying for that. So I don't know what my back looks like. I should actually go get an x-ray and an MRI and see what type of mess is down there, and because I'm sure it's pretty crazy. So, but now with all that being said, um, what was happening is I wasn't giving my core, and I'm just using that term so that we all understand what I'm talking about. This concept or methodology applies to any other part in the body. I wasn't giving it enough stimulus. I wasn't putting it. I wasn't putting it under enough load to where the strength, endurance, and overall mobility of my of my low back and my core started to come back online, started to come back and become stronger. So what I would do is I would do all these things, put in all of these hours of work, and then I couldn't do anything dynamic because I wasn't giving my body the correct stimulus. I wasn't strengthening it the way it should be. I should have been strengthening my hip flexors as well as stretching them for sure. But the reason that you're tight is because your tissue is guarding against a particular action, and most of the time you need to get stronger there and get not stretch more. And that's why everybody tries to stretch. And I have given out thousands of billions of stretches. I can't tell you how many foam rollers I sold in this time. I used to sell foam rollers like them. I had a client in Michigan who had an injection molding business, and he would make foam rollers for me, and I would sell them. I'd buy them off for like $5, and I'd sell them for like 15. And they were really hard. I have it here. I actually have one in the house still. I still have them. They were really hard suckers. The one I have still hasn't broken down yet, and I've had it for 100 years. Um, but I sold a bunch of them because I thought that that was the way to get out of it. Because the foam rolling at times would make my back feel better, but it wouldn't solve the problem. So the other thing that what we're doing is we're chasing, trying to make the thing feel better instead of trying to solve the problem. So what we need to do is we need to listen to the body, right? We need to listen to what our body is saying. But we also don't need to avoid ranges of motion. I was talking to a buddy of mine today, and he was talking about something with his shoulder and how, oh, yeah, something with his shoulder, and how he was avoiding doing certain exercises. This is the exact opposite thing that we need to do. We need to do the exercises that we can't do, but we also need to modify them enough to where we can do them pain free. And so, and when I say pain free, I mean on a pain scale of 0 to 10, 0 being no pain, 10 being cut the thing off or shoot me. Where we want to live is somewhere between like 1 to 3 with pain. Sometimes we have to kind of get to a little bit of pain because the pain is really just weakness and fatigue happening really quickly. So, so that's kind of the next the we need to be pain free. And when I mean pain free, like, ouch, I can't do that. Like sometimes when I split squat on my left knee, it's stiff. It doesn't feel like it wants to move the first set or the first couple reps sometimes. And then by my third or fourth set, it feels good and it's good. But ultimately that's not how it works. Um, Ultimately it it's not sore, right? It might be a little uncomfortable, but it's not like hey, I can't do this. This is really sore. So, so you need to find pain-free range of motion, right? And then you need to lean into that pain-free range of motion. And by the way, like pain-free range of motion could be as simple as this, right? Let's pretend my knee's sore, and there's no way I could. I'll use a squat for example. There's no way I could do a full range of motion squat, right? Oh, nope, I couldn't do that. But maybe I could start to do this, and that's not sore, right? And I could do that. And then I could start to slowly build my range of motion to where I could get down to that butt to heel squat. And that's going to take time, by the way. It's going to take time to build up. And for me, with my right knee, when I was recovering from my meniscus tear, I was doing split squats on a 14-inch box, I think, at least a 12-inch box for, oh my gosh, probably the better part of 6 months. Because I went from being able to do like one set of five to two sets of five, all the way up to 5x5. But some of them needed to be supported. I still wasn't getting good calf to hamstring coverage. I mean, like there was a progression because what we're looking for adaptation phases to happen for the tendons, ligaments, and muscle tissue. We're looking for those adaptation phases to happen. Those take time. Tendons and ligaments take time to strengthen because they don't get a lot of blood flow. They do have contractile properties though. So we need to remember and think about that. So with the idea of these this range of motion that's pain free, you don't even need to load it in the beginning. Oftentimes, just your own body weight for some of this stuff is going to be enough. And if you do load it, you load it really light. Like obviously, if you're doing like something like external rotation, unless man, you are super weak, this isn't get your the weight of your arm isn't going to be enough to uh, to create the change. Sometimes it might be though in the beginning. So you might have to grab a 2.5 pound plate and start working there. But you want to find something that is tolerable that you can get repetitions in so that you can start to build the endurance, you can start to build the strength, you can start to get blood flow in the area. That's one of the big benefits of doing high repetitions in the beginning, is getting a ton of blood flow in the area. And then, we want to start to progressively load it. And progressively loading could be increasing range of motion. It could be increasing height, increasing load, all of those things. Decreasing load with a greater range of motion. Like maybe you figured out, oh man, I didn't have that as well as I thought I did. I've done that. I need to back up. So last summer, I was chasing flat ground split squats with my left. Uh, I was chasing 90-pound flat ground split squats with my left leg forward. And because of a fractured ankle, and this is actually my left knee, I tore my meniscus in my left knee years ago, 2013, I think, 2013, 2014, sometime around there. So I don't have quite as much ankle mobility, and also I don't have quite as much ankle mobility, which then doesn't allow me to have as much knee mobility to get the hamstring to calf coverage in the split squat. So I had to increase my height to take gravity out of the equation some and work on a specific uh, tempo to help my knee and my ankle to start to open up more. Um, so the thing that I want us to wrap our heads around, as we close up this call, is that you don't have to work harder. And I think that that's a huge issue for people in our age group, so 40 plus. You don't have to work harder. What we want to start doing is we want to start looking at how can we start to introduce ranges of motion that we can do that we would normally avoid, but we're going to modify that and then progress forward from there with the modifications, always looking to get towards the greatest range of motion that we can given the movement, and then also scaling the load in a safe manner. the, you know the brain, I have found the brain responds to movement, so you should start seeing some benefits relatively soon, but you should really start to see the corner turn within 60 to 90 days. And when I mean corner turn, I mean, I'm talking like significant improvements. And if you're not doing that, then there's probably a chance that you haven't, that your methodology is off a little bit. And that's where a good coach comes into play. Um, we will be doing a webinar, a workshop, talking more about this on April 23rd. Um, so if you're interested in hearing more about this, my suggestion would be to sign up for the workshop. You can find it in the classroom, um, and we will discuss more about this and kind of break down more why oftentimes it's not your fault that the injury is occurring and happening. What's happening is that people is that you're just not putting the right information into your body, just like anything else. If you got a gasoline or a petrol car and you put diesel in it, it's not going to run well. If you put the wrong type of oil in your car, it's not going to run well. And so we want to make sure that we're doing all of those. We're putting the right information in, or the right input stimulus into the system. And when you do that, the system usually responds pretty quickly. So, all right. Well, I hope you're all well. If you've watched this till the end, do me a favor, drop a comment down below as to what you took away from this conversation today. And I will look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thanks so much. Have a great night.